is running out on the Boston Celtics. Seconds left. They trail the Buffalo Braves by 2 points. Dave Cowens on a turnaround fires and misses. He goes back up on the follow. Somehow the tip-in goes in. We've got a tie game in Buffalo. Braves call a timeout. Set up a play. They want a layup for Randy Smith. It's taken away. Randy goes up in the air. 5 seconds on the clock. He releases, and the Braves go up by 2. 3 seconds to play. One last play for the Celtics. They want Don Nelson coming off a pick. John Shoemate jumps over, gets a hand on the ball, and the Buffalo Braves have beaten the Boston Celtics 124 to 122. This series is tied at 2 games apiece. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Boston Garden for Game 5 of the Eastern Conference semifinal. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our starting lineups. First for the Buffalo Braves, number 5 at forward, their captain, Jimmy McMillan. At the other forward, number 34, John Shoemate. The center and the NBA scoring leader this year, number 11, Bob McAdoo. At guard for the Braves, number 9, Randy Smith. And in his new role as a starter, number 15, Ernie DiGregorio. Coach of the Buffalo Braves is Jack Ramsey. And now, meet your Boston Celtics. At guard, number 10, JoJo White. At the other guard, number 11, Charlie Scott. At center, the big redhead, number 18, David Cowens. At forward, number 35, Paul Silas. And at the other forward spot, able to play tonight, number 17, Hundo, John Havlicek. Coach of the Boston Celtics, Tommy Heinsohn. I'm Brett Musburger along with Mindy Rudolph. And Mindy, just as we expected, a rousing ovation when Hondo John Havlicek was introduced to this sellout crowd.
Well, John is a tremendous favorite up here in Boston. He's been here for 14 years. And if there's one player that these fans up here revere, of course, it's John Havlicek. Good to see him out there and healthy.
Mindy, I want to welcome all the fans in Boston. When we awoke this morning, this game was blacked out. The blackout has been lifted. They have joined us on the broadcast, and get ready. Jake O'Donnell to throw it up. This should be some kind of basketball game if it follows the form of the first 4 games of this series. Remember, tied at 2. The tip is won by the Celtics. They'll get the ball to start the 4th quarter. Charlie Scott with the game's first shot. Over the hoop and not there. Buffalo brings it back down. Ernie D, who will control it's got it. Scott pressuring him. Here's Jimmy McMillan. Havlicek will watch him. Back now to Ernie D. Just underway in the Boston Garden. McMillan waits. Shot clock winds down inside of 10 seconds. Boston not giving the Braves an easy shot, and Ernie D turned it over. He traveled.
Ernie D a little over anxious at that point, Brent, causing the first turnover of the game. Now, he's sure-footed and sure-handed. We'll watch him as the game progresses. He will lead this Buffalo offense as he's done the past 2 games.
Still looking for the first basket, Mindy. Scott has taken the only shot. Now here is Dave Cowens from the circle. Battle underneath. Won by McAdoo. He took it away from JoJo White. Ernie D to Randy Smith. What a series Smith has turned in so far. Look at the speed of the basket. Cowens jumped too early before the ball came down, but Silas with control. Scott in the middle for the Celtics. Hit it down and put it up. Off the glass, Silas on the follow, not there. Both teams really obviously tight.
Just a little bit. And after that game on Wednesday night, it's understandable.
Ernie D bounced pass to McMillan. Silas has taken him. Havlicek now matched up against McAdoo, and Scott comes out, and we have the game's first foul.
17, knocking him over.
Havlicek picks up the evening's first foul here in the Boston Garden. And from time to time, Mindy, throughout the evening, will be checking with Don Crickey, who is covering the Golden State Detroit series in Detroit. We'll keep you up to date on all the action around the NBA. Here it is, Boston and Buffalo just underway and no score. Pressure in the backcourt. Randy White on Scott, who gets it up. Wanted JoJo White, who did not look to his right, and the pass went out of bounds. That's JoJo's fault, Mindy, isn't it?
Yes, as he came up court, he got Charlie Scott's attention. He pointed on his chest and he said, "My fault, Charlie. Just keep throwing them to me. I'll catch him."
Still all zeros up there on the scoreboard. Here's McMillan. And still another turnover. So we can't get rid of the tension here yet.
You can feel it out there. I'll tell you, I talked to both clubs before the game, and although they said they were relaxed, you could see it in their eyes. They weren't, Brent.
JoJo White takes only the inside and then misses. The battle. Scott has it. Goes over to White in the corner. Takes his jump shot off the front of the rim, and here comes McAdoo. Somebody's got to get a basket here. Smith down across the timeline. White watching him. Ernie D wants it to set up the play. Smith goes down inside. Ernie D over to the right corner with a shot. Off the side. Silas. Off to Scott. Up ahead to JoJo White. McMillan's back on defense. White from the glass. Tip won't go. Havlicek back up. Still no basket in this game. 9:42 to go in the first quarter. Jack Ramsey calls a play.
It's unbelievable. Both teams can't score. All they need is one or two hoops to get themselves going, and I'll tell you, they will fly because both teams have great offensive power.
In and out for Smith. Here comes Scott. Who's going to get the first one? Bounce pass on a run to Silas underneath, and there it is.
Well, finally he broke the ice. Paul Silas with the first field goal of the ball game.
At 9:14 left here in the first quarter from the Boston Garden. Showdown time in the NBA. And congratulations to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Bill Fitch is here scouting tonight. Back outside to Shoemate. On the top of the circle, John Shoemate drills his first shot. Tied. Scott gives to White. Havlicek works the weave, comes inside. Great pass away from Cowens. Now he comes up with a shot. Silas on the other side. McAdoo finally down with it. Lid is on for both these clubs. McAdoo improves his position, then is fouled as he came toward the basket. Check those pants on the coach of the Buffalo Braves. How about that, Benny?
That's some kind of outfit, right?
Psychedelic Dr. Jack Ramsey.
I'll tell you, both coaches did such a tremendous coaching job on Wednesday night as well as the other three games in this series. It's a privilege to be associated with them, Brent. Tommy Heinsohn and Jack Ramsey, two great tacticians, moving them in and out the last four games. It's been a pleasure to watch.
The foul was on Charlie Scott. McAdoo continues to have problems at the free throw line. Missed that one, but Buffalo is up on the strength of one of those free throws. 3-2. 23 to go in the first. Now there was grabbing in there when they were trying to set the pick and coming around Dave Cowens.
Foul was on Ernie D, Brent. He's got to be careful because they can't afford to lose him early in the game.
Knocked away from Cowens by Shoemate, who was watching the big redhead, and very closely, I might add. Here is Scott out deep with one of his bombs. Light him up, Charlie Scott.
Charlie Scott does have tremendous range, and I'll tell you, he throws up those rainbow shots. He'll bring rain.
Shoemate again outside. 1 for 2 from that spot. Cowens as three Celtics go up in the air simultaneously. Outside, Dave Cowens off the front of the rim. And that happens when Cowens shoots outside. You certainly lose a tremendous rebounder. You got only Silas. Randy Smith for Buffalo.
Hey, it'd be nice to see a layup in this game soon. I'm looking forward to it.
There's an early score from Detroit. 3-point lead by the Pistons over Golden State. We'll be going there live for reports from Don Cricket. In that series, Golden State leads Detroit 3-2. 7:31. It's 5-4. Buffalo ahead by a point. Cowens on a turnaround. Battle won by the Braves as they come back down. McAdoo tipping it to Randy Smith with control. Smith off the Shoemate, knocked out of bounds. Dave Cowens, I believe, touched that one last. You know what Fitz told me tonight before the game? He congratulated the two referees in last night's contest, O'Donnell and Darrell Gerritsen. Said they worked a tremendous basketball game. From the corner, Smith. This is again, and down comes Charlie Scott. Now the Celtics can go ahead if they can convert. Trailing point, Scott to the basket. In and out. Did you ever see so many balls go in and out?
I haven't checked that basketball. There's got to be some butter on that.
Ernie D outside. In and out again. We have seen this at both ends. Silas with control for the Celtics. Havlicek not there. Shoemate battling underneath, eludes him, but McAdoo was in behind him to retrieve it. Here's Randy Smith saying a little patience this time, and let's set up a play.
Now, is it good defense or is it poor shooting?
I think it may be just butterflies here.
I think it's a little tension, Brent. I agree totally with you.
McAdoo facing the basket to Randy Smith. They work a fine play.
Good play. Randy Smith is quick. He gets a step on any player. He'll beat him any place.
Gets open coming through that back door. Took the pass. It's 7-4. A 3-point lead by Buffalo. 6:18 to go in the first quarter. Just underway from the Boston Garden. Celtics and Braves tied at 2 games apiece. Celtics try to come right back. McAdoo intercepts. Look at Smith outrun Havlicek. Fantastic speed, and Tommy Heinsohn wants a timeout after that play.
That's what I mean about the speed of Randy Smith, Brent. He gets a step or two against anybody. He has scored the last 3 field goals for Buffalo, and there's just no way anybody's going to keep up with Randy Smith. He's just so quick, with great speed, great agility. Havlicek cannot go with him.
You fly a lot closer to the crops than to the clouds. But when those last acres are dusted, you know it's Miller time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find.
It's time to relax.
America's quality beer, Miller High Life.
Miller stands clear, beer after beer. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller beer.
Which of these Chevy pickups is driving down a railroad track and which is riding on a gravel road? It isn't easy to tell because of Chevy's tough rear leaf springs, counter-angle rear shocks, and massive girder beam front suspension with coil springs. Smooth riding Chevy trucks. There are more on the road than any other make. Your money's worth mile after mile.
Tonight's NBA playoff game is sponsored by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. And by Timex Marlin watches. They take a licking and keep on ticking.
Dave Cowens walking out to go back to work. Mindy, you asked me, how many minutes has Cowens played? During our production meeting earlier today, he's averaging 47 and a half for the 4 games in this series that have been played so far. What an Iron Man performance. Scott with Ernie D watching him, and very carefully right up on him. Here's Cowens taking Shoemate, turnaround.
I spoke to John Shoemate before the game, and he said the one thing that he attempts to do when he plays Cowens is to overplay him on his left, knowing that Cowens is left-handed. Of course, it didn't work that time. But we will look forward to that tonight, Brent. He will overplay Cowens to the center of the court.
And because of that poor shooting, Buffalo leads it by 3 points. That miss by Randy Smith, snapped down by Cowens. Havlicek brings it up. We have not had a substitution yet in this game. Silas rimmed in and out. Back come the Braves. Ernie D. Lead pass to McAdoo. Silas working on him. McAdoo in the air. Left baseline miss. And Havlicek. Still a 3-point Brave lead. Passes up court to Silas. He eludes him. Scott saves it and gets it to Silas, who comes back up. Not there. The battle. Havlicek. A second chance basket. Celtics pulled to within 1 point.
John Havlicek in the right spot at the right time, picking up the offensive rebounding and using the glass.
And tomorrow and Sunday, the Houston Open at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Randy Smith saved it, got it back to John Shoemate. It gets inside Cowens. That's a second field goal for Shoemate.
And a circus shot at that. John Shoemate just hanging in the air and releasing the ball before he'd hit the court.
White outside. A 1-point lead by the Braves with 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the first quarter from the Boston Garden. Teams ice cold in the early going, starting to warm up just a little bit now. Smith off to Ernie D. Right corner, Cowens jumps out on him. He's one of the big men who's got a guard on him. It is Scott fronting Shoemate. Great pass inside. McAdoo hit McMillan.
You've got to admire Dave Cowens. You see him jump out and pick up Ernie D. He'll pick up anything in a white shirt. He loves to play defense.
White. Out there, McMillan rebounds. The Celtics are not controlling that offensive board like they did in the first couple of games of this series. McMillan. JoJo White with control. Celtics trail it by 3 points, 13-10. White to the basket. Celtics down by 1, 13-12.
Just one quick step ahead of Ernie D.
Mindy Jack Ramsey just called the play from the bench. Let's see what he wants. And Don Nelson will be the game's first substitution. He's coming off the bench for Tommy Heinsohn over at the scorer's table. Shoemade out at the top of the circle, shoots again. He wants to go outside tonight. Scott, lead pass, White goes to the basket. And the Boston Celtics have gone ahead, 14-13.
That's the fast break of the Boston Celtics. And I've got a comment on John Shoemate. Now, he's had 3 or 4 shots from outside, and that is not his range. He's got to get down low. He cannot shoot from outside and expect to win.
Inside, McAdoo with control, and that is traveling. He put it down a second time in too many steps. On the turnover, here come the Celtics. John Killalay, the Celtic assistant, standing up. Don Nelson will be coming into the game after this timeout. The crowd in the Boston Garden trying to pick the Celtics up. After trailing by 3, they've gone ahead by 1 point.
About 3 months ago, I lost my self-winding Timex watch. I figured it was gone forever. The other day, a customer came in with a flat, and I found my Timex in a very interesting place. Inside a 716 mud and snow tire, which I'd mounted about 3 months before.
Hey, how many miles this tire got on it?
Well, 3,000.
3,000 miles?
And it was still running? I think that's really great.
Timex, it takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
We know America wants a better car. Easy to maneuver, carry 6 in comfort, easy on gas, and above all, style. Build that car.
We did it! Comfort, luxury, style.
And the EPA ratings are 25 on the highway and 17 in the cities.
Wonderful. You made a Cutlass Supreme.
Everyone would like to build a Cutlass Supreme. Get the original from Oldsmobile.
Tonight on the CBS Late Movie. Men and women against a foreign power dedicated to violence. Tony Franciosa, Gary Lockwood, Earth 2.
Bill Fitch, the Cleveland coach, his eyes aren't closed, although I'm sure he did some celebrating last night. He's looking down at that pad of paper, X's and O's. His Cavaliers draw the winner of this series for the Eastern Conference Championship. What a story. The Cleveland Cavaliers. Sonny Hill was there last night. We'll have highlights from that 7th game at halftime, and you see an updated score on Game 6 from Detroit. Warriors up by 5. The Pistons have turned in a remarkable series against the defending champions. And, of course, we have an NBA doubleheader coming up Sunday on CBS. You'll see those Warriors out in Oakland. John Nelson has checked into the game now, working with Paul Silas. Havlicek goes out. Smith brings down the missed shot. Had a great rebounding series last Sunday in our game we did here on CBS. Right now, the Celtics lead the Braves by a point. McAdoo tries to do something about it. The battle for the boards is won by Cowens. JoJo White brings it up. Celtics try now to increase that 1-point lead. Jump shot, Scott.
But the Buffalo Braves must do one thing. They've got to pick the guards up high. They cannot let them get the ball down court as fast as they want to. That's the way Boston loves to play.
Mendy, we slide inside of 2 minutes left here in the first quarter. McAdoo up in the air with a turnaround. 16-15. Celtics over the Braves as Tommy Heinsohn watches his team go on the attack. White tries to turn the corner on Ernie D and gets it done. The basket was not there, and he charged right into Bob McAdoo. You know, Mendy McAdoo does an excellent job of getting set. We saw that last Sunday.
That's the play we talk so much about in the NBA. Let's pick this up. McAdoo with perfect position, and when that happens, the offensive man must pull up.
A shot battle underneath Nelson.
He must pull up, Brett, when he drives to the hoop and avoid that defensive player.
Scott, foul underneath. Silas and McAdoo were there. McAdoo got him. Bob McAdoo's first foul. Do you know that Randy Smith has cut a record called McAdoo And I understand that stations in Buffalo have been playing it all day long. When we go in there tomorrow for Sunday's game, let's get our hands on that and take a listen to it.
I'd like to hear Randy Smith. I hear he has a great singing voice.
Maybe we can get part of it up on our Sunday broadcast on CBS. Nelson up in the air.
Don Nelson with the good head fake and the good pair of hands. And if there's one thing that this series has pointed out so far is that Nelson cannot be handled by Jim McMillan.
Trailing by 3 points, there is a foul called on Nelson, who was guarding Shoemate. That's the first foul on Nelson. Team's third foul for the Celtics. 1:10. McAdoo comes out to take the bouncer from Ernie D. Shoemate wheels to Ernie. Fresh respect for the Celtics for Ernie D in this series. McMillan off the front. Loose ball out of bounds. Off of the Braves. Celtics have control. Randy Smith says, I did not touch it last. Let's check it out.
Let's see the out-of-bounds play. There it is. Randy Smith off the back of his hand. Of course, Boston inbounds the ball, and away we go.
Celtics lead it by 3, 18-15. Nelson with control. Shoemate jumped out on Collins and went to the basket, and McAdoo with a block. Now the Braves can pull to within 1 point. An amazing block by Bob McAdoo. Comes back now on the attack. McMillan slides through to the other side. Ernie D with possession. Hits McAdoo. Great pass inside to McMillan, and Collins came in and fouled him.
Collins got a piece of the ball, Brent, but he also just slammed into Jim McMillan as he was attempting to lay the ball up on the backboard. That's always a very difficult call to make because when you do hit the ball, everybody feels there should be no foul, but of course there's body contact, and when Collins hits you, you feel it.
First foul of the game on the redhead. Because of the 15 foul. Ramsey wants to get Ken Charles into the game. Did not get him up to the table in time. Wanted to add him here for the last shot that the Celtics undoubtedly will take. Wanted just a little more defense out there. Give Ernie D a rest, but it didn't work out. So it's 18-17, Celtics leading by a point. Last 10 seconds of the first quarter. Right hits Nelson coming around. Left side of the circle. A 3-point Celtic lead. With just a second left. Court leg shot off the glass by Ernie D. That wasn't too far off either, Mendon.
That last play, you saw that Nelson coming around the double screen is what they use all night. And Jim McMillan has got to deny Nelson the ball and deny him the position because Nelson can handle Jimmy McMillan.
You'll see the best in basketball when you watch the NBA. When you watch the NBA on CBS.
Working hard, running free, all dressed up. I'm still me, I'm not one woman, I'm really 3. And Timex has a watch for every one of me.
I chose this classic Timex for every day. This sports watch for fun times. This glamorous Timex for my very best.
Timex has a watch for every one of me.
Your Timex keeps working and working and working.
My Cadillac's a bill, please. Ford Granada, please.
I think this is my Cadillac.
My Granada.
Don't you know your own car? This is our car. Somebody put a poodle in our Cadillac.
When did you buy a poodle? That's my poodle.
In my car?
It's my car.
You move those Cadillacs, please? This is my Ford Granada. Sticker price like your VW Rabbit. Ford Granada looks like his Cadillac price like my Rabbit.
Ford Granada at your local Ford dealer.
Tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, CBS Sports Spectacular will present the thrilling World's Championship Demolition Derby from Islip, New York. And the exciting Men's World Cup Surfing Championship from Oahu, Hawaii. That's at 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on the CBS Sports Spectacular. The NBA playoffs on CBS will continue after this word from your local station. Actor Dennis Weaver displays his versatility by singing, playing the guitar, and joining Sonny and Cher in comedy, Sunday on CBS.
What kind of a car are you looking for?
One that'll last.
You ask for it. The Toyota Corollas. Pick from 2 doors, 4 doors, 5-door wagons, Whatever model you choose will have a solid welded body built to last. One of the reasons 9 out of 10 Toyota cars ever sold in America are still on the road. If you can find a better built small car than Toyota, buy it. Quality.
You ask for it, you got it, Toyota.
News after the game.
As we start the second quarter, I see that Tommy Heinsohn has gone to John Havlicek and Kevin Stakem in his back court. Ernie DiGregorio is out. He was held scoreless in the first quarter. Kenny Charles has checked in. He'll start this quarter with Randy Smith. McAdoo with the quarter's first shot. And Buffalo is pulled to within a point, 20-19.
And when McAdoo gets down that low, he gets time to set himself. There's just nobody can put him away from that basket.
Nelson wanted to give it back to Havlicek. Charles stuck right with him. Hondo working at guard. Charles will take it. Havlicek uses a great screen over there. Went to the right baseline and hit the jump shot. 22-19 Boston. Experience told that time.
Havlicek looks as sharp as he did probably a week ago.
Stakem guarding Smith. Shoemate gives it off to McMillan, and there was an elbow tossed over on that far side.
18 with the elbow.
Let's watch John on this last play. Now he'll come off the screen. There it is against Cowens. Go up, hang a little bit, get his feet set, up off the floor, and he looks as good as he ever did.
That was the second foul on Cowens. Smith with possession for the Braves. Turnaround jump shot. Buffalo pulls to within one, 22-21. Second quarter just underway. Kevin Stakem wearing 27. Second-year pro from Providence. His former teammate Ernie DiGregorio over on Jack Ramsey's bench. Cowens has it blocked again by McAdoo. Second tremendous defensive play by Big Mac.
If there's a play of any kind that can inspire a club, it's the play that McAdoo pulls right now with just great timing and blocking the shot. And that's twice he's done that so far.
And we've had a technical foul called against Boston. There was an argument over in the corner. Cowens getting on Jake O'Donnell. O'Donnell blew the whistle while you were watching that replay and the technical. So here's the captain of the Buffalo Braves, Jimmy McMillan. If he hits the technical, we'll be tied in the Boston Garden. 10:49. Braves with a chance to move back into the lead if they can stop Boston.
This has always been the thorn in the team sides that play Boston. They cannot stand it when Boston sets up that vertical screen.
Stakem with a miss. McAdoo at the glass. Will dribble on Cowens. Passes back now to Kenny Charles. Here are the Braves. A chance to regain the lead. And this the fifth game of the series between Boston and Buffalo. Teams are tied. It has been a home court series so far. Neither team has broken through on the road. Shot clock a factor. They've only got a handful of seconds. Shoemate. So as it was reaching zero, he hit it, and the Braves are up by 2.
And that's where John Shoemate belongs, down low. That's where he is most effective.
On the right side of the circle, Cowens knocks it at 24.
I was about to say a very poor shot selection, but any shot that goes in, Brent, of course, will count. And there you see the Detroit Golden State score, 37-32, Detroit up.
How about those Pistons, Mindy? What a job they have done. Win order, knocked away. Turnover, here come the Celtics. Nelson with control. 14th and last year in the NBA. Charles tries to tie him up. Nelson on the turnaround, fires off, and McAdoo with still another rebound. A sensational performance on defense and rebounding by Big Mac so far. 9:40. Charles waits. Nelson taking him. Havlicek working inside on McMillan, who does the turnaround. The battle, and McAdoo got it away from Silas.
I'll tell you,
from
Brent.
the Boston Garden. Brent Musburger with Mindy Rudolph and a 2-point Buffalo lead.
This is the best
24.
This is the best I've seen McAdoo rebound in this series.
Havlicek squeezes the trigger. Tied again, Mindy. 9-10. Smith across the timeline. Kevin Stakem watching him. Shoemate comes way out on the left side. They give it to McAdoo. Shot clock down toward 5, and as McMillan came underneath Nelson, there was contact under there, and that is the third foul. 3-second violation, they called that. I saw everybody holding up 3 fingers, and I thought somebody had the third one.
It was a 3-second violation.
Between you and Father Creed, I was blinded by 3 fingers on both sides that time. So we've got a timeout here in the Boston Garden. We're tied at 26, 8 minutes and 53 to go.
New cars, new cars. All I really need is a good set of wheels that gets good gas mileage. Now the wife, she's got to have full-size comfort. And the kids, got to have plenty of room for their kids and trunk space for the trip. But hey, who could afford a car like that?
You could, my friend. If the car is a 1976 Oldsmobile Delta 88, it's surprisingly affordable. Can we build one for you?
Roundup. It's a nice word for long days sitting in a hard saddle and long nights sleeping on the hard ground. But now comes Miller time, and those are beautiful words for the time when you head for the best tasting beer you can find. America's quality beer, Miller High Life.
If you got the time, we got the beer, Miller Beer.
If you couldn't register to vote last time around, do it this time around. If you couldn't register to vote last time around, do it this time around.
Brought to you by the National Basketball Association as a public service.
The NBA attracts some of the prettiest fans in the world, watching from the Boston Garden, hoping that their Celtics can break that tie. We've also got a lot of youngsters on hand. Blackout has been lifted, sellout in the Boston Garden. 8 minutes and 53 seconds remain to be played here in the first half.
And a very low-scoring game at this point, 26 apiece. And I'll tell you, the other night I went to the record book to see if there had been a bigger score in a halftime. Both teams had been in the 69-68 category, and there's no way they're going to get near that.
Nelson takes the bounce pass from Havlicek. Hondo rotates underneath. Here's Cowens at the top of the circle. Off the iron, and Ernie D, who's checked back in, has control for the Braves. Scott also back in. Don Adams has checked in for Jack Ramsey. Charles and DiGregorio in the Braves backcourt. McAdoo, who has been sensational off the start, still in at center. Here's McMillan on the drive. Cowens blocks it. Now Charlie Scott comes out on the run. Celtics on the break. Scott. Oh, McAdoo got back down. How did he block that shot? Here come the Braves. Charles off. Ernie David, hold on.
You'll see an offensive foul here against Kenny Charles. Well, let's watch this block. Everybody complained that he got it off the board, but let's take a look at it. Never hit the board, Brent. He got it on the way up. A tremendous third block by Bob McAdoo.
Unbelievable performance here so far by McAdoo. Cowens loses it, but McAdoo touched it last, so the Celtics will keep control. Jack Ramsey looking on. Don't forget, we've got an NBA doubleheader on Sunday. Mindy and I will be back over in Buffalo for Game 6 of this series. Don Criqui and Jerry West will have a game out in Oakland, either Game 7 or Game 1 of the championship if Cowens hits.
I have never seen Cowens shoot so much from the outside. Now, what they did then last play was Charlie Scott took Ernie D down low, and that's what they'll probably attempt to do, Brent.
Loose ball foul called on that.
As Ernie D goes up, let's watch for the loose ball foul now. There's the field goal, and Don Adams is called for, wiping out the score.
Havlicek takes the pass from Cowens, rotates over to the right. Nelson inside, double team. McMillan was there, Charles was there, Nelson back. Loose ball foul, there was contact. Adams was trying to regain control.
Now, that was another block shot by McAdoo. And what Ramsey is claiming is that the ball was not loose on the foul that was committed, but perhaps it was committed in the backcourt, which was giving him a shooting foul. Referee disagrees. Manny Sokol says, no, the ball was loose. and therefore Buffalo shoots no baskets, no free throws, and up they come with the ball, Brent.
Second foul on Nelson Mindy as McMillan squeezes the trigger. Steve Kaburski, who's playing for the Celtics. Boston leading 28-26. 7 minutes to go in the first half. Neither team has shot well. Cowens off the iron. Charlie Scott at the offensive glass. Backed up. And fouled.
Of course, the Boston fans don't like that at all, but Ernie DiGregorio will remain perfectly still on this particular play. Charlie Scott just went completely over him, causing the offensive foul. That's never a popular call. Again, there you see it. Ernie D perfectly still. Charlie Scott causing the contact, and that's a no-no.
Want to talk value, America? Talk Chevelle. Chevelle Malibu two-door coupe or four-door sedan, each priced under $3,700. Chevelle's got room for 6 and trunk space for luggage or sports gear. And Chevelle is EPA rated at 26 miles per gallon highway in 18 cities.
Try one on for price.
That's right.
Try one on for value.
You'll love it.
Try one on for style.
Uh-huh.
Try one on for size.
Yeah, Chevelle sedan and Chevelle coupe, each under $3,700. Try one on.
I've had so much on my mind lately, I'd forget my name if it was pinned on me. This trip, I forgot my toothbrush. Last month, it was my anniversary. About the only thing I don't forget is winding my watch. That's because I wear the Timex electric Dynabeat. A little battery runs it, so I can forget about winding it. Now, if I could just remember where I put my car.
The Timex electric Dynabeat, the dependable watch you never have to wind.
Listen to this. The company shall defend any suit alleging such bodily injury or property damage and seeking damages. Who can understand that? But now listen. If you're sued by someone for damages because of a car accident, even if the accusations aren't true, we'll defend you. The plain talk car policy, developed exclusively by Century. Now I know what I'm paying for.
A big insurance company doesn't have to act like a big insurance company.
For an update on Game 6 of the playoff between Golden State and Detroit, let's go live to Don Criqui.
It is a 53-42 game with 6 minutes left to go in the second quarter. The Detroit Pistons blowing it open here in the second quarter with a great running game. Their big captain, Bob Lanier, has scored 18 points so far in the game. Golden State led by 5 at one point earlier, and here comes Lanier in Detroit again. The Pistons needing a win to stay alive in the playoffs. Back outside to Archie Clark. Bill Smith has been the big gun for the Golden State Warriors. He has hit 16 points. Rebound to Eberhard. Detroit wants to throw badly, and they go out in front now by 13 points. And Al Adams wants a timeout for Golden State. Now they're going to keep the ball in play. They're not going to call a timeout. Rick Barry looking to go to the basket.
Don Adams just hit a field goal here, Don Criqui, to tie this game at 28. 6:27 to go in the first half. Steve Kaburski with control. Cowens took the pass, and the foul is called.
And that last field goal that Don Adams scored, Brent, was the first field goal that the Buffalo Braves had scored in 3 minutes, and that's incredible for the Buffalo Braves because they are a high-scoring outfit. This is a very, very tenacious type defensive ball game at this point.
Minnie, that was the first foul on Shoemate. We're tied in the Boston Garden at halftime. You'll see highlights of the amazing Cleveland Cavaliers. JoJo White, give and go back to Cowens. At the iron, misses the tap. Kaburski on the other side, but a loose ball foul is called.
We got loose ball foul, number 11.
On McAdoo.
And you watch Cowens keep this ball alive. Now there was 1 rebound, 2 rebounds, and almost a possible third when the loose ball foul was called.
2 fouls on McAdoo. Celtics turn it over. Adams, look at Smith. Oh, Rolls-Royce went to the basket.
Randy Smith, who jumped 6'11" in college, took 1 leap from almost the foul line, is a wackadoo and a hoopo.
Boston comes back down, trailing it by 2 points, 30-28, with 5 minutes and 53 seconds to go. White took it back from Cowens, pass to Kapersky, who drives the lane, passes off to Hondo. Cowens battling Shoemate, and it went in. Tied. Cowens will get the basket.
The magnificent strength of Dave Cowens' rebounding power is awesome at times.
See what the Braves come up with to regain the lead. They'll come up with nothing right now because play has been stopped by that whistle. Foul is on Kapersky. Paul Silas checks into the game, and Kapersky goes out.
Let's look at the speed of Randy Smith. Just watch where he takes off. There they go. Randy, he's going to make it again.
Is he some athlete? McAdoo comes over to the left side and fires. Adams was there, uncontested on that side, off Ernie D's hand and out of bounds. The Celtics will bring it back. We slide down toward that 5-minute mark, and we get a report there with 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. How about the Pistons?
Unbelievable.
That would tie that series at 3 games apiece, and you'd see Game 7 Sunday right here on CBS. Cowens, deep in the corner, in and out. Adams reacted a little slowly and then got to it. Batted it around, and Ernie D brought it out. McAdoo cross-court off a Scott on the turnover. Here come the Celtics. Tied at 30. Lead pass White. 4:53 to go in the first half. Celtics up by 2.
Georgia White in a rather unusual offensive play, Brett. Instead of going to the basket where he had an offensive overlay of 2-1, he pulled up and took the jump shot.
Adams, double team now. Turn around and drills it.
Well, Don Adams made up for it. We've got a tie score, 32-32 umpire.
Here's White, forced back out of the lane, wanted to come down. Havlicek. It's Cowens. David pulled up and put Boston up by those 2 points, 34-32, with 4:13 to go in the first half.
I spoke to John Shoemate before the game, and it's amazing how much he has total respect for Dave Cowens' ability as a basketball player.
Ernie D still has not scored. That is a factor to keep an eye on as Shoemate is on the drive toward the basket. He stuck out that elbow. Offensive foul.
John Shoemate at this point looks extremely frustrated. He can't do anything right against Cowens. Schluter was going to replace him, and hopefully Ramsey can just tone Cowens down a little bit. But Cowens had great position on the last play. Shoemate tried to force the play and just could not make it to the hoop. Don Nelson coming into the ballgame. Havlicek going to take a little rest. It seems to me at this point, Brent, that Havlicek may not be totally right, and that Tommy Heinsohn is trying to get him back into the flow of the Boston offense a little bit slow.
Boston ahead by 2 points with 3 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the first half. Here's Nelson getting inside Schluter, who left his feet and got out of position.
Don Nelson may not have the speed. He may not have the quickness, but he's certainly got it upstairs in that head of his. He knows exactly where everybody is on the court at a particular time.
Andy Smith throws it up for Schluter inside. On the turnaround, he was fouled. Now we're going to stop in the action. Don't forget Saturday and Sunday, the final rounds of the Houston Open coming up on CBS. Jack Ramsey looks like he could go golfing in those pants he's wearing here tonight. 3 fouls on Charlie Scott. Something to keep in mind. Schluter takes dead aim. He bends down and spins his body into it, doesn't he, Mindy?
That's not a very impressive point average, but I'll tell you, Dale Schluter plays with all heart. He is aggressive, and he just loves to play basketball. He'll give it all he's got, whatever he's in there.
36-34, Boston leading the Buffalo Braves. Nelson from the right corner, in and out. Silas saved it. Here's Cowens. Off the glass and in. Up by 4 points, an amazing shot.
I'll tell you, I don't know how Cowens converted that field goal because they had an awful lot of contact with Dale Schluter. Just tremendous body control, hitting the field goal as he was falling away.
John Adams with the miss off of Silas, then he regains control. Now the Celtics push it down the floor. McAdoo came back on Charlie Scott. Scott was cutting over to the left side. And McAdoo fouled him. We've got a timeout for Bob McAdoo, his third foul. 2 minutes and 46 seconds to go in the first half.
The upstart colonies didn't have a lot of sea power, but we had John Paul Jones, and the British took a beating. Sears is helping protect the captain's home with the Weather Beater, Sears' best latex paint, for siding, trim, even doors. It's climate formulated with a tough satin finish that's just begun to fight. The Weather Beater for great American homes like yours.
California, here we come!
In their new Maverick, the family compact that keeps getting better. This year, the base Maverick got 13% better mileage rating than last year. That's a lot of extra miles to see lots of country.
Daddy, are we there?
Carefree miles, too. Over the last 3 years, 57% of Maverick's scheduled maintenance requirements have been reduced or eliminated.
Are we there?
Maverick, the dependable family compact.
We're here!
The closer you look, the better we look.
I want to go home.
Tonight on the CBS Late Movie. Men and women against a foreign power dedicated to violence. Tony Franciosa, Gary Lockwood, Earth 2.
A magnificent quarter for Dave Cowens, 10 points. And at halftime, he'll receive the award as the CBS Player of the Year in the NBA. And you will see highlights of the Cleveland Cavaliers as they eliminate the Washington Bullets. Sonny Hill will be along. To narrate, he was at that game. Richfield, Ohio last night. Largest crowd ever to see a playoff game in the NBA, and wait until you see the explosion at the end of that game. Silas faces the basket. McAdoo drops off. 2:38 to go. Buffalo trailing by 4 points. Here's Charlie Scott. Bombs away. Off the iron. McMillan. Pass to Smith. Scott almost intercepted. Randy brings it back down. Bobby Weiss has checked into the game for Jack Ramsey. Working in the backcourt with Smith. Silas. Smith could not get it off as JoJo White was there. 2-on-1 JoJo.
Now the next 2 minutes could be very crucial for the Buffalo Braves because they are coming unraveled here a little bit in the late stages of the second quarter, and they need a field goal here desperately.
Trailing by those 6 points, they go to the big man. McAdoo comes across to Weiss, who is open. In and out. Silas out to JoJo White. Up by 6, the Celtics can increase that to an 8-point margin. Silas. Inside to Nelson. Back to Cowens from the corner. There it is.
The Buffalo Braves cannot allow this. Now they've only scored 34. They're down by 8 now. Should be very crucial here, Brent.
8-point margin or 4 baskets. We move down now, Mindy, inside of 1 minute and 30 seconds. Schluter goes to McMillan, who fires. Silas, a chance for a 10-point lead. Scott with control. Cowens. Off the iron, McAdoo. Out to Weiss. Lead stays at 8 points. McAdoo can cut it to 6. Taken down by Nelson and the Celtics. Second chance to go up by 10 points. We've hit the 1 minute mark left in the second quarter. Nelson fires off a shot trying to draw the foul. 55 seconds.
Nelson attempted to draw the foul on that last play, and you'll hear the crowd reaction.
Weiss outside.
Oh, they needed that. They needed that.
6-point lead.
They needed that. How important was that no call against Nelson, where they could have been up by 10 possibly, now down to 6. Very important part of the game right here.
Inside of 40 seconds, you can watch the clocks. Charlie Scott took it all the way. Got around the corner, went baseline. An 8-point Boston Celtic lead. They'll have to get off a shot before the half ends, but there won't be much time left if they run it down. Here's McAdoo. Cowens went up and Schluter was over his back. That's the 5th foul against the Braves, so they go into the penalty situation and will be shooting free throws.
Not a very good foul by Dale Schluter here. Cowens had position all the way. There was just no way that Schluter was going to get the rebound away from Cowens. Now, why cause the foul? You're in the penalty situation. Give them a chance, get on the free throw line for 2 shots, and put this lead at 10.
John Havlicek, who just walked into your picture, moves into the game. Don Nelson goes out. Charlie Scott goes out. Kevin Staken has checked back in.
That last field goal that Bobby Weiss scored was the first field goal that Buffalo has scored in 4 minutes. And you can see that happening with Buffalo getting a little bit unraveled. They're going to be down. They need a field goal desperately here right now to get that lead cut down to 8.
So they're working against that 10-point spread right now, inside of 10 seconds. Here's McAdoo, Silas watching him. Schluter out away from the basket. Here's Weiss, they're going to have to hurry. Jimmy McMillan gets it off in time. Not there. The Celtics will take a 10-point lead into their locker room at halftime here in the Boston Garden. Crowd appreciating the Celtics' tremendous desire late in the second quarter when David Cowens helped them open up that lead. And let's go back to Detroit and Don Criqui.
Here at Detroit, Charles Johnson drills a jump shot off glass, and the Golden State Warriors, who were down on the game clock by 16 points 5 minutes ago, have now come back to within 6. We have 7 seconds left to play here in the first half at Detroit. Bob Lanier leads the Pistons with 18 points. Phil Smith has been spectacular for Golden State. He has scored 20. And now Lanier takes a poke in the eye as the first half ends. Lanier clinging to his right eye. Rick Barry apparently fouled him, and we're very close to a fight right now.
We're back at halftime at the Boston Garden with the Celtics leading the Buffalo Braves by those 10 points. Very cold shooting performance by both teams in the first quarter. Then in the second quarter, it was Cowens who turned red hot. And we will honor Cowens. We'll have highlights of the Cleveland Cavaliers coming up.
You'll see the best in basketball when you watch the NBA. When you watch the NBA on CBS.
お前の面は気に入らんぞ。わしもお前の面が嫌いじゃ。
Yoshima's face belongs to a digital watch. Yuki's face belongs to the Timex computer quartz watch. Both watches are accurate to within 15 seconds every month. However, there is a difference.
時間だぞ。何時ですか?
With Yoshima's digital, you need 2 hands to tell the time. With Yuki's Timex, you don't. The Timex computer quartz from $49.95, the brain of a computer. The convenience of hands.
It's about time, it's about time, it's about time for a new kind of American car.
Chevrolet's new Chevette is rated at 40 miles per gallon highway, 28 city. And our Chevette Coupe has all this carrying room with its rear seat folded down.
It's about time for a new kind of car, and we got it.
And finally, our Chevette has room for 4 with its rear seat up.
Chevette is a new kind of American car.
Red on round ball.
Here we have Elvin Hayes on the offense of the Washington Bullets. You got Paul Silas on the defense of the Boston Celtics. There are very few big men that have the versatility to play the corner position in all its phases, and at the same time, if they're guarded by a smaller man, go right in and become the pivot man. Elvin Hayes is one of those unique players. For example, watch this move. Watch him drive to the hoop from the corner position. You see, there are very few men his size that are such great shooters that can fake that shot and still go for that hoop. Now, in order to stop him from making moves like that, you put a smaller man on him. As soon as he sees that, he becomes a pivot man. Now, he's a corner man facing the basket. Now, he'll come around and post it up. By posting, we mean he's going into a pivot position with his back to the basket and making his moves from there. Go ahead. And he'll either take a fadeaway jump Or this time, take a bounce and take a hook, Elvin. Start out facing the basket. Cut in deep, cut in deep. Now, there he is. Now, when do you decide, Elvin, what you're going to do out there, whether you're going to become a corner man in its phase or the pivot man?
Well, if you have a guy maybe 6'10" on you, it's pretty tough trying to out-jump him consistently inside, so you want to take him outside. And if I feel like I have a guy 6'5" or 6'6", then you want to take him inside, because I feel that then I have the advantage. I want to try to get the ball as low as possible, get position, and go straight up for the shot.
You see what he does? He uses his height, he uses his strength, but above all, he uses his head. Now, Paul, you got a guy like Elvin, and not many players that can do the things he does outside, inside. Now, what goes through your mind when you're guarding him?
Well, specifically, I don't want Elvin to post me up low because I know that I can't bother his shot if he jumps over me, so I'd rather take my chances with him shooting from the outside. I feel that I'm quick enough to stop that drive to the hoop, so I don't want him to post me up. Other players, I would rather them post me up because I can outmuscle them.
You see, what he's bringing out there is simply this. You study your opponent. You know what he can do. He knows how far he could shoot with accuracy. He knows that he could take him inside. And that goes through his mind before the game starts. You got to watch out for these guys that can play both positions. If you're an Elvin Hayes, the first thing he does is check the guy that's guarding him. He's got to decide whether to post the guy, take him outside, use a fadeaway jump, use a regular jump, go into the pivot, take the hooks, and still help out rebounding. So remember out there, think. It's a thinking game. Scout, make decisions, and remember what you see.
Back in the Boston Garden, look who's smiling. Sonny Hill, always with that great smile on his face. Hey, that was some game you saw in Cleveland last night.
That's why I have the smile on my face. I was at a fantastic basketball game last night. In fact, I was sitting there with some of the newspaper guys, and we actually had our hearts throbbing. My palms were wet, and it was one of the most exciting basketball games that I've seen in a long, long time. And when you think about that game, I think about Jim Brewer, because he was the glue man all night. He made the key rebounds offensively and defensively. He came up with key plays and even put the jump shot home a couple times. And Nate Thurman came off the bench in the fourth quarter in particular and did a super job. He had 3 key offensive rebounds, made a great defensive play on Wes Unseld, and he also came up with a key defensive rebound, a long pass to Snyder for an easy layup. And talking about Dick Snyder, he did a super job because he made 3 key offensive scores in a row. Here's the first one. Snyder takes a jump shot. Notice how he follows up, and he puts the ball home. Phil Chenier, who had a fantastic basketball game, he shot 14 for 21 for the money, and he's on the money right now. And here's Snyder with the key play of the ball game. 9 seconds to go. Ball inbounds to Snyder. Wes Unseld playing him. Notice how Snyder goes to the baseline and shoots a running layup with 4 seconds remaining. Now the Bullets have the ball out. Unseld inbounds, trying to get it to Hayes. Hayes is tripped. The ball is deflected to Phil Chenier. With 2 seconds, Phil has to force up a shot, and it's victory for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And when you talk about Cleveland, I think you really have to talk about the fans there, because they give off the kind of impression of a high school or a college tournament type of fan. And I really could sense that last night being around there and other times of being in Cleveland, because the fans are just as much a part of what goes on there as the ball players. And Brett, before I finish, I have to talk about Nate Thurman. I went in that dressing room after the game, and Nate Thurman was in the dressing room of the trainer. And he was really crying because he was so emotionally involved with what was going on with that team. And I tend to feel that maybe what happened in his career, going to Chicago for a while, things not working out well there, and then going to Cleveland and being the man that tied it all together for that young basketball team.
Nice story, Nate Thurman, this year. You mentioned the fans over there, Sonny Hill. They write pretty good letters in Cleveland. I've been hearing from them all season long, and we're going to do some games. I can't wait to go in there. You've been taking the rap for all of us.
They've been booing me, and I think that rightfully so, because they feel that we should have been on the 2.
All right. Well, we'll have Cleveland on in the Eastern Conference Final.
The NBA playoffs on CBS will continue after this word from your local station. For a price, he will fight your war, train your army, or assassinate your enemy. Meet him on 60 Minutes, Sunday on CBS.
Corvette family chose Kay's gifts from the hundreds of selections featured in Corvette's Mother's Day circular.
Mom's modeling an ascot blouse. I got it for $6.99.
A GAF deluxe camera, only $11.99.
This solid-state black and white TV, $69.99.
Lucite watches, $6.99 each. A 1,000-watt Pro dryer, $14.99.
And with any one of these appliances, a free corsage for a gift you'll treasure.
At a price you can afford.
Don't miss this Mother's Day sale at Corvettes.
New Fiat 131. Bigger, more luxurious, more powerful than any Fiat we've ever brought to America. It's designed with a twin overhead cam engine, the same type found in some of the finest sports cars in the world. It's one of 6 sedans in the world with a 5-speed transmission as standard equipment. And it has more standard equipment than many cars costing $2,000 more. If you've never considered a Fiat before, maybe it's time.
Channel 2, New York. We're back here in the Boston Garden. Sonny, we took a look at the highlights from Cleveland's victory over Washington. How about this game? You've been watching from our videotape truck. You must have seen something.
Let's use one word, scramble on the part of both ball clubs, and Dave Howens got very, very hot, and he probably is the difference in the ball game right now.
He certainly is, and we can take a look now at your highlights.
McAdoo comes up with a key steal, and this is the great layup by Randy Smith, and this is how the Buffalo Braves were able to get off early in the ball game. You talk about scrambling and being aggressive. Dave Cowens comes up with the rebound, kicks it out to Havlicek. Yes, Havlicek's playing tonight. Long pass to Silas. Scott with great hustle. Now Silas makes a reverse layup. And notice Havlicek sneaks in for the layup. And that's what you have to do when things are not going well. Come up with the key offensive rebounds. The Celtics do that so well. McMillan takes the shot. And here's a rebound by McAdoo, who had a splendid first half of rebounding at both ends of the floor. Adams came off the bench, and he helped the Buffalo Braves a little bit. He dropped in a couple field goals, and here's one of them. And that's what you have to have in the ball game. You have to have help from the bench, and the Celtics are a team who really typify that. And Dave Cowens, here's a shot by Nelson. Scramble and hustle again, and Cowens puts one home, and he really had a big offensive first half of the ball game.
Well, I think it was such an emotional experience for Buffalo in winning Game 4 the way they did that maybe they were down a bit here when they started this ball game, and after a subpar first half for them so far, after Jack Ramsey's had an opportunity to talk to them, I expect a different game out of Buffalo.
I would agree with you totally. They had such a great offensive game, both teams, that you would expect a letdown. There's no way those two teams could shoot as well as they did in the ball game Wednesday, but the Celtics, being the pros that they are, they scrambled just to keep themselves in the game until they could get their offense together, and the Braves were not able to do that.
And, of course, Ernie DiGregorio has not been able to do against the Celtic defense what he did earlier. So we'll see what Ernie D comes up with here in the second half, and we'll be back in a moment.
You've heard me say Trailways is the best bus going, but you decide in a head-on comparison with this bus. A Trailways bus is equipped with torsion suspension. This bus isn't. A Trailways bus is fitted with fabric seats with adjustable headrests. This bus isn't. A Trailways bus is always equipped with footrests. This bus isn't. So I say Trailways is the best bus going. And this bus, well, what do you say?
I sure would like this job.
And don't come back!
Maybe I should have worn my Hager leisure outfit. Hey, or maybe my check slacks?
Hager slacks and tops mix and match like magic. A variety of different outfits for less than $50 each.
Blue Hager slacks, check top, please.
Young man, there's something about you I like.
Thanks, Hager.
America's best-known name in slacks.
Tonight's NBA playoff game is sponsored by Timex Marlin watches. They take a licking and keep on ticking. Holiday Inn, where the best surprise is no surprise. And by Datsun, America's #1 selling import for cars and trucks. Datsun saves.
All right. You know, we've got an excellent game going in Detroit between the Pistons and Golden State. Let's go to Don Criqui for a report.
Back at Detroit, it has gotten very, very wild in the closing moments of the first half. Rick Barry fouled Bob Lanier. Lanier suffered an eye injury, but now he's all right. Here he is at the free throw line. This is his second of 2 free throws, which he pops right through. And so the first half ends with the Detroit Pistons leading the Golden State Warriors 63-55. I'm Don Criqui with Jerry West. When Rick Barry was going off the court, somebody, I believe, on the Detroit, one of the fans, if you can call him a fan, swung at him with a cane, and Rick had to be restrained from going into the stands. Get it all going here.
Rick got a little bit upset by that last call, and we didn't see it on tape, but he really felt that he wasn't even involved in the play. He got very upset at Joe Gashue, and I think some of his players were rushing him off the court. As they did, some fan up in the stands didn't like his complaining very much, and they did take a swing at him. First half of this ball game, a great ball game. Detroit comes out with a tremendous rush. Golden State, the champions they are, never gave up and were right back in the ball game.
We're going to look at some first half highlights. It has been a very spectacular game, very dramatic turnabouts. You don't know who's going to be leading 2 minutes later.
Big Bob Lanier underneath. He was rejected by Clifford Ray. Good movement of the basketball by the Pistons ball club. We saw that a lot in the first half, and Howard Porter, who had a hot hand, converts a shot. Bob Lanier was tough inside and out.
Man, this is just after he come off the bench. They took him out briefly. Here's Phil Smith, who, like Lanier, has scored 20 points in the first half.
We've seen him do it inside and outside, both he and Lanier. Great first half for both players.
Both have 20 points. At one point in the second quarter, if you joined us late, Golden State was down by 1 at the end of the first quarter, fell behind by 16, came back to within 6, and now at the end of the first half, it is an 8-point game, Detroit.
For those of you who enjoy professional basketball as much as I do, it is a rare privilege every time we watch Dave Cowens combine his considerable skills with that great desire of his. And David, on behalf of CBS, let me present you this watch. We have voted you the most valuable player in the NBA in 75-76. Congratulations.
I consider that a real honor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, David. I can say one thing about this man. I have never seen him give anything but 100%. That's a rare tribute. Let's go back to Mindy Rudolph right now at courtside for the first half statistics.
And the big turning point in this game happened at 6:01 when Boston had a 30-28-point lead. And from that point on, at 6:01 to the end of the quarter, Boston scored a total of 6 points. I might add also a very interesting stat is that at that point in the game, not one starter for the Buffalo Braves scored a point. It was Adams, Schluter, and Weiss, and nobody else. And there you see the field goal shooting percentage. Neither fantastic for either team, 38% and 37%. And Ernie DiGregorio at this point has been completely shut out. He has not scored a point for the Buffalo Braves, and they need some assistance from Ernie D. They need some assists. They need some playmaking to get back into this ballgame. They're down by 10. Cowens is leading the Boston Celtics with a 16-point game, as is JoJo White at this point. Nelson coming off the bench with 6, and Havlicek with 6. Brent, here we go. Buffalo Braves inbounding the ball.
Start of the second half. A 10-point Boston Celtic lead. The Braves go back to work, seeing what they can do about it. Ernie D., who is yet to score, working in the backcourt with Smith. It'll be McMillan, Shoemate, and McAdoo up front for Jack Ramsey as they try to battle back in Game 5. Two teams dead even in this series. Winner to take on Cleveland for the Eastern Conference title. And the big redhead yanks down the first rebound of the second half. Scott goes up, and McAdoo comes flying through that lane.
I count 5 block shots for Bob McAdoo, and I'll tell you, he is keeping this game down to where it's respectable. Now watch Bob McAdoo. He comes up, catches the ball on the way up. A tremendous defensive play.
Missed shot by JoJo White. Braves with possession. Just underway in the second half, and a 10-point Boston lead over Buffalo. Ernie D. fires and hits his first points, and it was a pretty shot.
And all I can say, it's about time. That's one thing they need. They need scoring from Ernie D. They need penetration to get back into here.
Trailing by 8 points, JoJo White outside. Shoemate at the glass. Ernie D. in the middle for the Braves. Brings it down. White steps around it. Ernie D. fires again. 2 quick hoops, and Ernie D. has lit up the Braves.
Ernie D. must be listening, because I said they need scoring from him, and they've got it.
It is a 6-point Celtic lead. They have not yet scored in the second half. Into Cowens, who was pushed by Shoemate as he popped out. That is the third foul on Shoemate.
You'll watch this replay. John Shoemate just a little bit too over-anxious, causing the foul and being blown forward.
Here's Cowens through the lane and puts up the left-handed hook.
Cowens.
8-point Boston lead.
So strong at penetrating the lane and getting that little soft-handed hook.
McMillan. Havlicek on him. Little short. Cowens battling to save it. Got away and out of bounds. Mindy, you were telling everybody to get this picture of Ernie D from the other night.
That spot you see in his uniform is blood from a cut over his eye. I spoke to him before the game, and he sustained a cut which required 4 stitches.
Ernie D just missed on that shot. White takes the pass. From the left corner, he buries it. It's back to 10. 50-40. Celtics lead the Braves. Here's Shoemate. Off of McAdoo. Pass thrown too hard from that closer range.
And
but
very,
it was off the Celtics.
Very lucky that it wasn't a turnover because, as you said, it was thrown hard. And Randy Smith just clapped his hands and told his Braves, let's loosen up here. Let's play like we know how.
McAdoo left alone. 50-42. 9:49 to go in the third quarter. Havlicek, who was running down the other end on the pass inside. Cowens gets down on the floor and regains it. Battle with Silas and McAdoo going up, and the loose ball foul is on Paul Silas.
Let's pick up this loose ball. Now, this is Cowens at his best. He'll go for any loose ball. Anytime he sees leather, he'll just go diving for it. Tremendous dedication.
Interesting, Mindy, that's his first foul. Did not pick up a personal in the first half. Shoemate right in the lane. Turn around, short. Celtics come back on the attack. White in the middle. Starts the move to the right side. Randy Smith is there. Cowens. McMillan. Braves trail it by 8 points. 50-42. Inside pass to Shoemate, who has Cowens on him. Back out to Ernie D. Silas watching McAdoo. McMillan gets it into Shoemate on the turnaround. It's now a 6-point Boston Celtic lead. And another reminder, tomorrow and Sunday, the final rounds of the Houston Open here on CBS. And, of course, on Sunday, an NBA doubleheader. The way Detroit has played, it may be Game 7 of that series between the Warriors and the Pistons. White left alone behind the screen. McAdoo fields the miss. White with control for the Braves. They can move to within 4 points. Shoemate left alone. It is 4. And Boston wants timeout as the Braves battle and get themselves back into this game, Mindy.
Tommy Heinsohn not too happy with what's happening. He wants to recoup his group, get out there and run with the basketball and open up. They just blew a 10-point lead. He is very unhappy.
Hey, kids, come on over and try this one on
In
for
your
size.
shopping list of what you want in an economy car, be sure to include all these standard features. All 4 Datsun 710s have them. Plus, room for the kids and the performance of a race-bred engine. Check the competition. They don't come close. Datsun 710. No wonder Datsun cars and trucks are America's #1 selling import. Datsun saves. Test drive a 710 sedan, hardtop, or wagon with your family this week.
Commercial credit might lend millions to get a factory running.
Well, Sunday's the big day.
Thousands to help a smaller business grow. But as much as commercial credit lends to business, they lend even more to help people. To make a father proud.
Congratulations, honey.
Make someone's life a little fuller. When you need a personal loan, commercial credit will find ways to help you.
Tonight's trivia question. The man in the flowered shirt, do you recognize that face? Played for the Boston Celtics. In that famous Game 6 against Milwaukee, he wound up covering Abdul-Jabbar. That is none other than Henry Finkel. Welcome back to the Boston Guard. What a nice man he is.
He is a heck of a guy. One of my favorite people.
8 minutes and 23 seconds to go in the third quarter here in the Boston Garden. Celtics with possession, the Braves with full court pressure. It's a 4-point Celtic lead. Silas comes up against McAdoo and then gives it off to Charlie Scott. They go inside to Cowens. Turn around on Shoemate, banks it in.
Cowens is having a great shooting night. I'll tell you, Shoemate's doing everything right, and Cowens is still scoring on him.
Trailing by those 3 field goals, Braves go right back to work. Ernie D with Scott on him, starts his move, gives it off to McMillan. Inside Shoemate, gets inside Nelson, passes it to McAdoo. Off the iron, Silas, Nelson. Celtics can go back up by 8 if they can convert. They'll let Silas have that shot all game long.
The switch on defense, and Silas was wide open. Of course, as you said, I'd let him take that shot all night long also, but they count when they go in, of course.
Scott trying to stick with Ernie D. Baseline, pass back to Randy Smith. Braves keep possession. Down by 4 baskets. McMillan into the lane. Back to Shoemate off his hands. Turn it over. Here comes Boston. It's 3-on-3 as the Braves get back. Off to Silas, who trails and goes muscling his way to the basket. 10 points. Boston goes up again.
Ernie D saw Silas coming. I was looking for Ernie D to cut off the driving lane. He didn't. He backed off and allowed Silas to go through the hoop unmolested.
Go! Number 10!
JoJo White. Donald Smith.
Well, there's Ernie D. He backs away, allows Silas to go in for the field goal, and of course to take a shot from Silas. Ernie D side will take an awful lot of courage.
McMillan misses after the Braves inbounds pass following the foul. 6:52 to go in the 3rd quarter. Scott hits White. Rotates underneath. Now it's Scott, top of the circle. Over Ernie D. Won't stay down, and Cowens has got a second chance basket.
Dave Cowens is having himself an absolutely sensational ball game.
He already has scored 22 points. That's why the Braves have got to call a timeout and see if they can regroup on defense. We have 6 minutes and 33 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Celtics up by 12 points.
You know, I finally found a beer I can respect. Light beer from Miller. It tastes great. But what I really like is it's less filling. Light has 1/3 less calories than their regular beer. I tell you, I gotta watch myself. This is a tough place. Well, this place is so tough, the hat check girl's name is Dominic. In a place like this, I gotta move fast. I can't afford to get filled up. I tell you, I don't get no respect.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
You know it's one of the toughest weeds in your lawn? The dandelion, because dandelions have roots up to 2 feet long. And if you don't get it all, it just grows back. What you need is Scott's Turf Builder Plus 2. It gets rid of the whole dandelion, root and all, and 40 other weeds too, while it thickens your lawn with Turf Builder fertilizer. And right now, you'll even save money during Scott's Plus 2 sale.
Last year, my wife gave me the shower massage by Waterpik. Terrific gift, right? Wrong. My daughter, she uses it for her hair every night. My son, he uses it every morning. Junior even uses it to wash the dog. So what if the shower massage gives you a great massage with every shower? I haven't enjoyed it in weeks. I wonder what my wife is going to give me this year.
There's only one shower massage by Waterpik, but you may need more than one.
Let's find out what's going on between Golden State and Detroit, and with a live report, here's Don Crickey.
Right now, Detroit wants a timeout. The Detroit Pistons have called for a timeout with 6:25 left to play in the 3rd quarter. The momentum has changed. Detroit had an 8-point lead at the end of the first half, opened up a 10-point advantage in the 3rd quarter, then Golden State came cracking back, got back to within 3. That's where it stands now, 73-70, 6:25 to go.
Ernie D just drilled one down Crickey here in the Boston Garden. It's 58-48. Braves back to within 10. Scott takes it all the way. It's 12 again. Largest lead in the game.
Randy Smith had a defensive lapse. He was calling on instructions to his left. Charlie Scott saw his head turn and just kept going to the hoop, and nobody picked him up.
6 minutes left in the third quarter. John Adams shoots it up over Nelson. Silas. Lead pass Nelson. Adams back on defense. Nelly holds up. Celtics set a play. Here's Scott. Left corner. Takes a bomber. Shoemate. Rebound. Well, the Braves have been unable to sustain anything. They pulled it within 4, and then the Celtics regain control. On the drive, Ernie D is fouled by Charlie Scott. Fourth foul on Scott, Mindy.
Let's watch this play as Ernie D goes to the hoop. Charlie Scott gives him enough room, but as he goes up, there you see the call. You know what's amazing right here now, Brent, is McAdoo. At this point in the game, he has 9 points. He's only scored 1 field goal this entire half. We have 5:32 to play, and it's a credit to the Boston defense because he's not getting the ball to put the ball up. He's just getting completely shut out from the offensive flow.
And yet, what a factor he has been on defense as John Havlicek gets ready to check back in for the Celtics. Charlie Scott, Shoemate got back on defense and got a hand on it. Ball went out of bounds. Celtics retained possession, and Scott arguing that he was fouled as he turned that corner and began the assault on the basket.
Havlicek back in the ball game. Not only was Scott arguing that he got fouled, but Tommy Heinsohn was up screaming that it could have been goaltending.
It's Ernie D who has been scoring this quarter. 8 points, Mindy, after being shut out in the first half. Nelson with a misfire, and there was contact underneath.
A lot of contact between Don Adams and Paul Silas. Don Adams really gave Paul Silas a belt on this play as he pushes him off his back, causing the loose ball foul, and back to Boston.
JoJo White with his favorite shot. Smith puts it on the floor, and here come the Braves. They trail by 10 points. 5 minutes to go in the third quarter for the Boston Garden. Ernie D baseline, pass back, but JoJo White was there on the turnover. White leads the break. Havlicek on the left for the basket. McAdoo trails down, fields the missed shot. Boston Garden was ready to explode if Havlicek had hit that. Ernie D outside, off the iron. White puts it down. Havlicek's breaking free on the left. McAdoo back again. Here's Silas going to the basket. Loses control. Adams down with him. We got a...
I'll tell you, it's incredible how they have shut McAdoo out in this particular half. So there you see the jump ball. Both people on the ball. Jake O'Donnell will toss it up. Don Adams. Paul Silas.
Battle. Braves. Lose it. Randy Smith stepped on the out-of-bounds line. Celtics with control.
Randy Smith, just the ball hit the line, not the foot, just the nickel of the ball.
Little ballet on the sideline.
Right where Larry O'Brien signs his name.
The commissioner watching this game has his Cleveland coach Bill Fitch. Havlicek pops out, takes a pass from Collins and hits it. An assist for the Redhead. It's a 12-point Celtic lead. Jack Ramsey wants timeout.
I'm sure that Ramsey has got to tell his ball club, the controller of the offense, Ernie D, that they've got to get McAdoo into the flow of the game. They've got to get McMillan into the flow of the game. They've got to get the ball down low.
Well, when we first started this business out, it's like any business. You don't make much money, if any. And by using the Dodsons, we didn't have to make a whole lot to not to be losing too much. I just bought this new 1976 Dodson here. I traded in a 1971 that had 230,000 miles on it. We find our Dodsons very dependable, just about as dependable as the sun coming up in the morning.
It's a nice room. It's a little small, but you'll love it. Surprise!
You get enough surprises when you travel. That's why Holiday Inn thinks the best surprise is no surprise. You know you'll always get a comfortable room with a big double bed you can count on. Just one of 152 special standards for beds, rooms, restaurants that let you know at every Holiday Inn the best surprise is no surprise.
Tonight on the CBS Late Movie. Men and women against a foreign power dedicated to violence. Tony Franciosa, Gary Lockwood, Earth 2.
She loves it. Have you ever seen so many pretty girls at an NBA game as we've got here in Boston?
And she's wearing the Boston green. A little peck on the cheek before we get back into play also.
Manny Sokol just looked over at you, shook his head, and said, tough, real tough. That's the kind of game it has been between these two. Ernie D with possession. Cowan's popped out, now he goes back. Looking for Smith. As White watching him, goes up in the air. Does he get off the floor? And does Cowens with the rebound. 3:55 left. It's 62-50. Boston leading Buffalo. Game 5. As you look at Game 6, 81-76, a 5-point Piston margin in the third quarter. Game 7 on CBS Sunday if necessary. If not, Phoenix and Golden State Game 1. Havlicek as the shot clock winds down on the drive. Don Nelson went back up, and there's a loose ball foul.
Now, what Tommy Heinsohn and the Boston fans did not see, they did not see Nelson's hand on the lower part of the back. They saw his hand on the ball, and that's all they looked for. Now, you watch this. So watch Nelson just hit the ball. Now, look at his left hand. A little push very quickly. Very cute move by Nelson, but they caught him.
And 3 fouls. Cowens knocks it away from Smith. Battles and saves it. The redhead does it again. Nelson has it taken away by McAdoo with a fine defensive play just across the midcourt line. Smith on the drive was fouled by White, and it'll count. Chance for a 3-point play. That could be a big moment for the Braves.
That's what they need. They need something like that to perk them up because they have been rather lethargic. Now watch Cowens. Why is he the most valuable player? Look at that hustle. Where do you see guys like this doing this night after night? Dave Cowens, you've got to give him all the credit. In fact, the watch that you gave him from CBS should have been an alarm clock. Should have been a big pen of some kind. It wasn't big enough.
One of those huge grandfather clocks.
That's what he needs, right.
Here is Randy Smith at the line. Chance for the 3-point play. 3:14 to go in the third. So leading by 9. Celtics back down on the attack. White starts his drive, gets free as he gets around Ernie D and missed. Adams yanks the rebound off to DiGregorio at the far side. Looking now to set something up. Celtics far more conscious of Ernie D in this game than they have been earlier in the series. He has hurt them. McAdoo trying to get something going, as Mendy told you, and he does.
And of course, when you're in trouble, who do you go to? You go to your big man. You go to the guy who can score for you, McAdoo. And they've cut this lead down to 7. Let's see what happens.
Nelson turned inside Adams, and there was a foul. Charlie Scott checks back into the game.
Don Nelson, how cute he is. He knows exactly where his defender is. He'll wait and cause the contact on his back. He knew he had no chance to make the field goal. He was out of position, but being the veteran that he is, caught Don Adams up in the air, and he'll go to the free throw line. Now, he has a very peculiar type of shooting style.
Ernie D talking to Jack Ramsey. Besides the Houston Open tomorrow on CBS, don't forget the Sports Spectacular, the Demolition Derby. Pat Summerall, the host of the Sports Spectacular, wonder if he might get out there and drive one of those cars.
Better him than me, I'll tell you.
Here's Nelson again with that style Mendy was telling you about, and he hits it.
It's a push shot. Did you notice, Brent, that he pushes the ball through the hoop like a shot put?
9-point Celtic lead with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the third quarter. Shoemake goes to Adams with a pass. Charlie Scott is watching him. Scott still trailing Adams. McAdoo began his move, and there was contact. 5th foul against Celtics. They're in the penalty. Tommy Heinsohn standing up. Now his assistant John Killalay gets up.
We got 1-1.
Killalay is talking to Steve Kaversky. Has a play diagram. 64-56, McAdoo again. Then a little short, but not this time. He drilled that second one. Ramsey yelling encouragement. It's 64-57, a 7-point Celtic lead. 2:13 to go in the third quarter of the Boston Garden. Eastern Conference semifinal, tied at 2. Nelson has it knocked away by Adams. Silas with possession, hits it, and a chance for a 3-point.
I've said it before in our telecast, but Paul Silas never ceases to amaze me to be in the right spot at the right time, whether it be on rebounds or block shots and loose balls. And there you see, typical of what I'm talking about. converting a possible loose ball, a possible block shot, or a turnover into maybe a three-point play.
And an important statistic, 4 fouls on McAdoo with 2:06 to go in the third. A 10-point bulge again. Pistons holding on, battling in the third quarter with that 3-point lead over the defending champions. McAdoo gets open. Silas popped out, and there was a whistle. Silas grabbed him when McAdoo made his move to the basket.
And that was an excellent foul by Silas. And those are the fouls that you've got to give, because had not Silas fouled McAdoo, it was an easy field goal. Now McAdoo will get only 2 shots because he was not in the act of shooting when he got fouled. Good foul by Silas.
Whatever problems McAdoo has been encountering at the free throw line, he seems to have overcome them in this game. Jack Ramsey, 67-59 on 1:50 to go in the third. Charlie Scott, baseline off the side. Silas with an offense and a second chance basket.
Will you look at that Paul Silas do what he does better than anybody in this league. Unbelievable how he has a nose for that basketball.
He is now fronting McAdoo. He knows that they must keep the ball away from Big Mac. Here is Randy Smith. Tries to move outside of Cowens. Not there. Charlie Scott with possession. Right in the middle. Brings it down. Takes it in. He's got it. He was fouled.
Buffalo Braves have to be extremely careful at this point in the game. They could be blown out of here. There's the hand on the back as Charlie Scott goes by Randy Smith, which is not an easy thing to do because Randy Smith has tremendous speed.
Buffalo in the penalty as Havlicek goes over to talk to Tommy Heinsohn along with Silas.
I'll tell you, I talked to Paul Silas before the game about his offensive rebounding ability, and he says, Mendy, you know I can't jump any higher than anybody else. There are men in this league that are bigger than me. My secret is just to get position, the best position I possibly can. And he does that, Brent. He gets better position than any player in this league.
It is a 13-point bulge, the largest of this game. Ernie D gets inside and gets it off the shoemate. Back to 11. 1 minute left in the third quarter. Havlicek, who was working at guard again, gave it off to Nelson. They had a contact foul as he tried to turn the corner. The fourth quarter just underway in Detroit. Pistons up by 3. And if that series goes to 7 games, you will see the 7th game as the second game of our doubleheader Sunday on CBS. The first game, of course, will be Game 6 of Boston-Buffalo from Buffalo. Steve Kaburski checks back in.
And that tremendous hand that you heard go up from the Boston crowd was, of course, for Paul Silas, number 35, that great offensive rebounder, and he deserves every round of it. I'll tell you, he is just a super basketball player.
And with Silas going out, Mendy, that gives Jack Ramsey an opportunity to rest John Shoemate. Take some of his muscle out.
I spoke to Don Nelson before the game. He was out here warming up before anybody arrived. And he said, Mendy, he said, you're probably wondering how I get it, what I'm doing, where I'm getting it from. He said, but I'll tell you, what I don't do with my legs, I do with my head.
The way a lot of players in the NBA do it. McMillan takes Nelson and drills it. Now, 43 seconds. It's 74-63. Boston leading by 11 points. Havlicek pops out. Randy Smith is watching him. Havlicek working in the backcourt with Scott. He has been at forward and at guard for the Celtics. Turn around, left hand of the hook.
You hate to keep saying it, but Dave Cowens is having himself a heck of a ball game.
It's 13 points. Ernie D holds up. They want to go for the last shot. We come to the end. McMillan open underneath, and he was fouled as he tossed it up.
Good play by Buffalo. Everybody looked for McAdoo to get the ball and McAdoo to get the last shot. There was a screen, and McMillan came loose. Good, smart play by Ernie D at that time.
Steve Kaburski was in there along with Dave Cowens, and immediately Kaburski threw up his hand toward the scorer's table. He didn't want anyone to assess Cowens with that foul.
I'll take it. Don't give it to the big redhead, right?
Only if it goes 2 to make 1.
I'll tell you, I think Buffalo is extremely lucky at this point in the game. Jimmy McMillan could possibly cut it down to 11 here. And the way Boston's been playing, it seems to me that they could have opened up a 17 or 18-point lead very easily, and they're only up by one more than they were at the halftime.
Last shot in the third quarter, it's Scott. And that's it. We have come to the end of 3 quarters from the Boston Garden. Game 5 of the Eastern Conference semifinal. The Boston Celtics hosting the Buffalo Braves. 76-65. Celtics lead it by 11.
See the best in basketball when you watch the NBA. When you watch the NBA on CBS.
Her first date. A little blue dress, going to a party with a little red jacket. This is the color Polaroid Super Shooter now turns into a 60-second masterpiece. More red, more blue, more yellow than you ever got in 60 seconds before. Polaroid Super Color Film and $28 Super Shooter.
The Datsun's always been dependable.
You know, after 95,000 miles, I think we both felt our Datsun still looked good.
We were rough on the car, too.
We had to go through some gravel roads, some rough fields, and we took it all over the place. And we can get a good, full life out of a Datsun.
You betcha, yeah. It's always been dependable.
Datsun dependability comes 14 ways. Sedans, wagons, hatchbacks, trucks, and sports cars. Datsun saves.
The NBA playoffs on CBS will continue after this word from your local station. From the studio that brought you Rich Man, Poor Man comes The Keegans, a family united by murder. See their story Monday night on CBS.
At Simms, you'll never see the word sale. Simms represents at off price the world's finest brand names in ladies' and men's clothing. At all times, you can buy men's current nationally advertised $160 vested suits with the label for $88. $20 designer shirts for $9.99. There's never a reason for a sale. At Simms, an educated consumer is our best customer.
Channel 2, New York.
The commissioner of the NBA, Larry O'Brien, there to the right of Red Auerbach, the general manager of the Boston Celtics. 12 minutes to go. Whoever wins will hold an important 3-2 lead in this Eastern Conference semifinal. And they will take on Bill Fitch's team. He's over there to the right.
Jimmy Rogers.
So the two coaches of the Cavaliers scouting these two teams, taking notes. Kaburski. It's the first shot. 78-65. To give you an idea, Cowens was held to 2 points in the first quarter, 22 points since then, 24 for the game. Kenny Charles. Loose ball battle won by Shoemate. He waits and here's Charles. Goes to the left corner. Smith comes over. They go inside to McAdoo. Kaburski to Scott. Now it's passed back to Kaburski in the left corner. Here's Charlie Scott outside.
A bomber by Charlie Scott. Tommy Hansen has a very interesting front wall up there, a very interesting front line. He's got Don Nelson and Steve Kaburski with Havlicek and Silas on the bench.
Jack Ramsey very unhappy. He just pointed to the Braves. Get the ball across the timeline. Call a timeout. Get over here. You haven't done what I just told you between quarters.
Hi, gang. No, this ain't a beer. It's STP oil treatment. I take care of my own cars, and I've been using STP for the last 10 years. The troops at STP tell me it makes your oil tougher, even a premium 10W40. And it helps reduce engine wear and you burn less oil. What I'm telling you is it works. And you can take that to the bank.
You know, we've had a few disagreements over the years, but there's one thing we do agree on.
and that's light beer from Miller. Light has 1/3 less calories than their regular beer.
But the best part is that it tastes so great.
The best part is it's less filling.
Nah, it tastes great.
Less filling.
Tastes great.
Less filling. Less filling. You know even less about beer than basketball.
That's it, Heinsohn. You're out of the bar.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Toro engineers go to this estate in Newport, Rhode Island to show how the Grassmaster combines everything you'd expect in Toro's finest mower. You get Toro's exclusive high-torque engine. And watch how the spacious rear bag frees you to maneuver on tight turns and along edges. Grassmaster, the finest mower Toro's ever engineered. Innovative engineering is what makes a Toro a Toro. Haven't you done without a Toro long enough?
For an update on Golden State Detroit, let's go live to Don Criqui.
It is all tied up in the fourth quarter, 88-88. We have 8 minutes and 35 seconds left to play in the game. And now Phil Smith, who has put on an incredible show for Golden State, gets his 32nd and 33rd points of the game. And Golden State is back in the lead by 2. And here comes Dudley leading the break. 2-man attacking. Barry off to the right. And the passage you see is blocked as Al Adams, who's been up and down the sidelines all game long, has seen his team down by as many as 16 points. But they have rallied back now in the fourth quarter to take a 2-point lead over Detroit.
Thank you very much, Don. Brent Musburger with Mindy Rudolph. Back live in the Boston Garden for the last 10 minutes and 55 seconds. 80-65. Celtics lead the Braves. McAdoo with his back to Silas turns around and hits. It's 80-67 and 10:46 to play. Game 6 of this series Sunday on CBS. White starts his assault, and he traveled.
That's the only way the Buffalo Braves can get back into this ball game. Is they've got to go to the hoop, they've got to hit McAdoo, they've got to hit McMillan. They cannot score from outside and expect to win this ball game.
Smith charged into Scott, who had stepped over. And that is 5 fouls on Charlie Scott with 10 minutes and 34 seconds to play. He fouled out of Game 4 Wednesday night in Buffalo. That game won by the Braves. Foul is against Cowens. That's his third with 10:27. Charles takes it back from Smith. Silas all over McAdoo. They go out to Smith. Shot clock inside of 10. Double team. McAdoo gives it off to Shoemate. Cowens was there on defense. Scott back, leads the break. Throws up the underhand, and Silas came right over the back of Randy Smith.
Well, Silas a little too anxious, and he knew it. He was disgusted with himself, and he didn't time the rebound a little bit better than he did. Now, you'll watch this as Charlie Scott will miss the layup. You'll see Paul Silas come into your picture. There he is. And, of course, there's the loose ball foul.
Tommy Heinsohn with a word of advice for Jake O'Donnell as he went past and McAdoo from the corner. 80-69. Braves back to within 11. Ramsey urging his players to come up on the press, and Scott is furious, yelling at Manny Sokol.
And as he turned away, he said, "I'm sorry, Manny. I didn't mean what I said. Here's the basketball. You're the referee. I'll play. You call the game. Don't be mad at me, baby."
As a businessman, for me, there is no other choice other than Datsun. We own 35 Datsuns, and they perform beautifully. You cannot beat the cost of operation, and the downtime is minimal. Rain, sleet, snow, these cars keep going, and they put an average of 1,000 miles a week on each one of them. We've tried 4 different manufacturers in the past 4 years, constantly checking to see if there's a better automobile than a Datsun, and for my money, there isn't.
All cotton denim jeans look terrific when you buy them, but when you wash them, wrinkles, puckers, shrinkage. Is that what you paid for? Now there's Wrangler no-fault 100% cotton denim jeans and jackets with sand percent. Freedom from shrinking. puckers, wrinkles, no matter how often you wash them. And no fault fades beautifully. At Wrangler, we think Americans should get what they pay for.
State Farm agent Doug Mays.
We specialize, of course, in the personal lines, meaning the automobile insurance, the fire insurance, the life insurance.
They want someone who is professional, someone they can have confidence in, and they want to be able to understand what they're buying.
State Farm agent Jim Golden.
For their family. But most of all, they want someone that they can count on to be there when they need him. And I think most people will find that a State Farm agent's that kind of a guy.
State Farm is there.
Tonight's NBA playoff game is sponsored by Datsun, America's #1 selling import for cars and trucks. Datsun saves.
I can't believe it. A fan just handed Mindy Rudolph a note that said, "Can't you wake up Jake O'Donnell?" Last night, Jake was a hero. Bill Fitch praised him for working the Game 7. Tonight, he's a bum here in Boston. Well, that's the life of an official any place. Silas with control, 9:37 to go. Owens gives it off to White. He takes his favorite little shot. Smith puts it on the floor. Slowed up by Scott. Charlie Scott has been an impressive defensive player, and at that time, Smith motored right around him and drilled Dave Cowan's offense. Ramsey can't believe it.
The Ramsey is shouting him. Local Manny did not make the call. Jake O'Donnell made the call, and with Jake detected, as Randy Smith drove to the hoop, he gave Cowens a shove with his left arm.
Havlicek gets up. He'll check back in. Inside to Cowens. Pretty pass from Scott.
You saw Ramsey thought that Cowens may have walked on that last play. You saw the signal. Now let's watch it and look for yourself now. Ball into Cowens. Get out of there, Silas. No, he did not walk. He went up, kept both feet on the floor, and scored the field goal.
Mindy, this may be the first game where Charlie Scott has been a factor. Right now, let's go to Detroit for a report on Golden State and the Pistons, and here's Don Criqui.
Playing the game here at Detroit. Golden State down by 16 points in the third quarter. Has now rallied back to take a 4-point lead, 94-90. Curtis Rowe putting the shot up, and whoa, who is that? Porter or Lanier, Jerry West?
What a play by Howard Porter. He had a great ball game so far.
19 points for Porter. That makes it a 2-point game again. Seen some spectacular plays all night long. 5:55 to go as we start down the stretch. Golden State with a win here will end the series. And Derek Dickey now hits the shot to make it a 96-92 game. The Warriors by 4. Phil Smith with 35 points for Golden State, leading all scorers. Bob Lanier has scored 24 for Detroit. Mengel hits. Again, it's a 2-point game. 96-94 Golden State. Phil Smith, nobody's been able to touch him all night, just firing away, hitting from all over the floor. That time missed it all. Lanier takes it, looks for the outlet. And Detroit forces the ball quickly down court. Mengel, who is an Auburn linebacker, in addition to an SEC Player of the Year in basketball, drives down the lane and he crashes to the floor, and the whistle blows.
John Mengel gives 100% every minute on the floor.
Gus Williams got the personal foul.
Pass inside from Eric Money, and watch this ball he takes.
He loves it.
He better believe he loves it. His nickname is Crash.
Went to Auburn because they let him play football as a linebacker in basketball. So Crash Mengel is right up, bounces up like a greyhound with 5:14 to go, and he is heading for the free throw line. A little bit of that, spread a little of that hurt no more on it.
We talked about that hurt no more. It still hurts. The good thing about it for the Pistons now is Golden State is now in a penalty situation. It gives Detroit a lot of chances. They can take the ball inside, rebound real well. They can stay in this ball game with good free throw shooting. But the one danger for them is not get caught up in a running game with this Golden State ball club.
The Celtics have taken command of their game at Boston. They are up by 13 points in the fourth quarter. If they win, they would go up 3-2 with Game 6 coming up Sunday afternoon at Buffalo. John Mengel to the free throw line. Doesn't get the first one. Got to try again now. He could have tied this game up if he hit them both. Lanier has not scored here in the fourth quarter. He had only 4 points in the third quarter. Mengel, in fairness to him, should be pointed out, banged his right hand that he shoots with when he fell that time. Missed both free throws. 2-point game, 96-94. Phil Smith right to the hoop, takes it right through. Rick Barry against Porter, all the way across court to Derek Dickey. And the Golden State Warriors again open up the 4-point lead.
Their great bench again contributing an awful lot. Gus Williams, Dudley, Derek Dickey, George Johnson, everyone.
George Johnson just fouled Bob Lanier. He'll shoot 2 free throws. But watch Lanier go to the basket again. They have to get offense from him, Detroit does.
A good penetration move by John Mingelt. And again, anytime you can break inside this Golden State defense, which is tough enough to do, you're going to find some men open either underneath or on the wings. And Detroit needs to try to do that a little bit more, particularly when they're in this penalty situation.
Golden State took the lead here in the fourth quarter, for the first time since the first quarter of the game. This is Don Criqui with Jerry West at Detroit. The Pistons needing this win to stay alive in the playoffs. A team that got here with a 10-game under 500 regular season record, 36-46. A lot of people forget they won 11 of their last 12 regular season games, then knocked off Milwaukee in the playoffs, and now have beaten the defending NBA champion Warriors twice in this series, but have to win tonight to stay alive. Barry goes to the hoop, dips it up like his free throw, and Golden State again takes a 4-point lead, 100-96. We have 4 minutes and 15 seconds left to go. Rick Barry has scored 13 points, missed much of the third quarter, has 4 personal fouls, now a 5th, which he got in the third quarter. 4 at the half. Lanier goes to Eric Money, looking inside. He's been a dancer all night, going right into that lane, but can't get the shot. Lanier is there, followed up. 2-point game again, 198. 3:55 to go. 28 points for Bob Lanier. Gus Williams with that spectacular 7 for 9 in the third quarter when he scored 14 points off the bench. Goes to Barry. Rick Barry fires away, and he gets it. And again, the Warriors extend their lead to 4.
When Golden State needs 2 buckets, Rick Barry's responded. Even though he hasn't shot well in this playoff, they know where their key man is. They go to him in those situations.
Howard Porter puts it up. Lanier taps it cross court, and Chris Ford out of Villanova out-hustles everybody to the ball. With the ball is Curtis Rowe. This is wild. This is great. 102 to 100.
Great hustle by the Detroit Pistons to keep that ball alive. Little plays like that can win a game, particularly this close.
The crowd is absolutely on fire here in Detroit. 11,000 just up and screaming the whole game long. Down the lane, a great drive by Gus Williams, could not get it to go. 2 minutes and 55 seconds left to go. Detroit with a hoop here would tie the game again. 2:50 to go, heading down the stretch at Detroit. Pistons having to win to stay alive in the series. They trail 3 games to 2. Lanier out high. George Johnson against him. Chris Ford, bounce lead, pass to Money. Oh, the roll goes in the home court for Eric Money and Detroit.
Detroit is bringing Bob Lanier out high to set a lot of screens, and they're trying to work stuff down low, and Eric Money has been the recipient of many good plays underneath the basket.
We now have 2:20 to go in the game. Chris Ford stole the ball, and he stepped out of bounds when he did so, and so the ball is back over to the Warriors. Golden State will get the ball back in bounds from beneath their basket. 2:20 to go, and the game is tied 102-102. The Celtics now with an 88-77 lead over Buffalo in the fourth quarter. Here is Clifford Ray. Going out and coming into the game, replacing George Johnson. 2:20 left to go. What's Detroit have to do here, Jerry West?
Detroit has to prevent Golden State from getting a good shot here and come down and try to get the ball to Big Bob Lanier and see what he can do with it.
Good erase. Williams way high up to take the inbounds pass. Works off a pick set by Derek Dickey. Curtis Rowe stays with Williams. Williams driving, rebound, slapped out. Barry takes it. Screening the ball with his body. What do we got here? Foul call goes against Detroit. And Barry, who is just about automatic at the free throw line, goes to the free throw line. 5th foul on Chris Ford in that play.
Here's Gus Williams cutting inside. Again, Detroit not filling in real well. Bob Lanier got a piece of the ball. Rick Barry there for the play. He cuts inside the defense. Chris Ford hits him. Barry's going to go to the free throw line for 2 shots.
Barry breaks the tie with a free throw. He can give Golden State a 2-point advantage. 2 minutes and 9 seconds left to play in the game. Could go longer than that, though. This could very well be an overtime game, 104 to 102. Golden State is in the lead. The defending NBA champions would advance to the Western Finals. Boston continues to lead the Buffalo Braves by 11 points at Boston Garden. Lanier down to Chris Ford. Lanier spins off low. Ford passes off to Howard Porter. Berry goes for the ball. Porter gets the shot away. Howard Porter now ties the game at 104. 21 points for Howard Porter. The ball will come back inbounds to Detroit. And before that happens, there's going to be a timeout called by Golden State and a personal foul signal.
We are back live in the Boston Garden. 3 minutes and 26 seconds to play. 92-79.
And McAdoo has just fouled out. He just committed his 6th foul on an offensive foul with Paul Silas while we were awaiting Ramsey's substitution. Jack Ramsey totally unhappy with that particular call as his big scoring ace sits down and he is finished for the night.
McAdoo goes out having scored 23 points. 3 minutes to play. And the Boston fans begin the chant that we heard last Sunday in Buffalo, only it's for the other team.
Goodbye, Buffalo. John Havlicek, who really hasn't been a factor in this game as far as his playmaking is concerned, nor scoring, but he is certainly an inspiration to the rest of the Celtic players.
92-79 is our situation. Buffalo closed to within 11. Then they could not get any closer. Dave Cowens was dominant on the boards at both ends of the floor while you were watching the contest between Detroit and Golden State. There's the banner. Dick Gibbs checking into the game for Jack Ramsey. So it will be game 6 in this series in Buffalo, and the Braves must win that one. You'll see it on CBS, to be followed by either game 7 of Detroit Golden State or game 1 Phoenix against Golden State. How about the way the Pistons have played?
Give them a lot of credit. I'll tell you, they're hanging in there tougher than I thought they would.
Offensive foul for the Braves. We'll put it in play. It was against Cowens. That's his 4th. It was coming through the lane, and there was a foul. We'll be going back to Detroit. That game, of course, very close. And right now, let's go back to Don Criqui.
104-104. Eric Money called for his 4th personal foul. And the penalty shot is now in effect for the Golden State Warriors, and Gus Williams goes to the line. He can break the tie with the free throws here.
Don, those are the kind of fouls you don't want to make. You just don't want to put a player on the foul line in a situation like this. Make him shoot the ball. Make him beat you from over the top, but don't put him up there on a cheap situation.
Gus Williams, a rookie out of Southern California, did not play till the 3rd quarter. And then he hit 7 of 9 shots, 14 points. He now has 15, 1:37 left to go in the game. 1:37 left. And now Golden State has a 2-point lead, 106-104. Eric Money, 21 years old, directing the Detroit offense from the back line. Goes to Curtis Rowe, who comes out as Lanier comes out way high. Clifford Ray right with him. Touching. You can touch, but you can't impede, says the rule book. Here is a pass to Howard Porter. Berry all over him. And Porter sticks it in anywhere to tie the game. You can put a bag over Howard Porter's head tonight, he'd stick it in the hole.
Howard Porter, a very fine shooter, Don. He's done this all through his career. Probably the thing that's hurt him most has been his defensive play, but he's turned into a good ball player here in Detroit.
I'll say he has. Rick Berry firing long. Rick Berry breaks the tie with a minute to go, 108-106. Berry now has 19. A 2-point lead, and now we have a whistle underneath. And it's just a warning, admonition for Al Attles, the Golden State coach, who's having a whole lot of trouble staying in his seat, and you can't blame him. He's up and down the sideline.
I don't think he's been in his seat this whole ball game, but he's right in every game.
Gus Williams steals the ball. Money takes it back. What do we have here? Back to Detroit. No foul.
Richie Powers, one of the better officials in the NBA, right on top of that play. But Gus Williams, with great anticipation, steps inside the dribble of Eric Money. Looked like he had a layup, but the great speed of Eric Money caught him.
So Detroit will have the ball inbounds. We're going to have a timeout before they do. They're going to try to get this act together and get things in order. We have 46 seconds left to go. It is 108 to 106. The Golden State Warriors in the lead. The top point man in the game is Phil Smith. Has not scored for a while, but still has hit a spectacular 35 points for the Golden State Warriors. Barry has 19. Wilkes has 14. Gus Williams with 16 points coming off the bench to the third quarter. And Lanier has 28 for Detroit. Porter has 21. Curtis Rowe with 12. George Trapp with 10. And let us tell you about the Houston Open. And you'll see tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern time. The $200,000 Houston Open. With tournament standouts like Raymond Floyd, Ben Crenshaw, and Hubie Green going for a $40,000 first prize. That's tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern time. Celtics have opened up a 13-point lead. They've pretty well put that game away down the stretch at Boston. 93 to 80. Boston in the lead over Buffalo, so the Celtics will take a 3-2 lead into Game 6 Sunday afternoon at Buffalo. A game you'll see at 12:30 Eastern time on CBS. Immediately followed by either the 7th game of this series or Phoenix at Golden State, depending on the outcome here tonight. You'll definitely see doubleheader game with the defending champion Warriors at home on Sunday. Jerry?
Don, this is one of the best basketball games I've seen in a long time. Both teams have displayed a tremendous amount of enthusiasm. The play has been good. It's been a little bit ragged at certain times on Detroit's part. But this ball game is just one of those games that's a shame that anyone has to lose.
Really has been. In the first half, Detroit shot 59%. Golden State shot 57%. Then they came out in the third quarter and really got hot. Curtis Rowe with the ball. Detroit down by 2. Here's the big man Lanier with the ball. Puts it up off glass and ties the game. Lanier with that deft touch. So Detroit with the ball. At 6'11", 255 pounds. He has 30. 31 seconds to go. Williams looks for Berry. Rick Berry moving on Porter. What do we have? Foul call against Detroit. That's a nervous whistle. Official right on top of the play.
Boy, those are the tough plays to call by an official. Rick Berry starts his drive for the basket.
I got a feeling this thing's a long way from over. 26 seconds to go. Game tied 108-108. Here's Charles Dudley coming off the bench. Golden State won an NBA title using 11 players last year. Do the same thing this year. Everybody gets to play.
The reason of bringing Charles Dudley in, Don, is for defensive purposes. Big free throw by Rick Berry, the league's leading free throw shooter during the regular season.
26 seconds left to go. Rick Berry at the free throw line. A 91% free throw shooter gets them both. And Golden State, with Rick Berry scoring 11 points in the fourth quarter, has taken a 2-point lead, and Detroit takes a timeout. 26 seconds could be the difference between the end of Detroit's season and advancing, depending on what they do now. 110 to 108. Golden State up with 26 seconds to play in the game.
Thank you very much, Don, for that report from Detroit. Back in the Boston Garden, Brent Musburger with Mindy Rudolph, 1:12 to go. The Celtics leading by 11 points, 95-84. While you're away, Jack Ramsey got very upset and drew a technical foul arguing.
He was asking for a 3-for-2 foul, which you people did not see. On one play where Collins fouled Shoemate, he thought Shoemate was in the act of shooting. Jake O'Donnell insisted that he was not, and Ramsey insisted that he was. Therefore, we had a technical foul that followed, of course. Frustration, absolute frustration on Jack Ramsey's part.
And he got his timeout after that technical. To update you on Dave Collins. Tremendous ball game as he goes out and receives a standing ovation. 30 points and 16 rebounds. 2 of those points in the first 12 minutes. An incredible night by the man that CBS selected as the most valuable player this year in the National Basketball Association. And let's go back to Detroit and Don Criqui.
Detroit coach Herb Brown calls his team the Dirty Dozen. Archie Clark comes over, looks at Jerry West, shakes his head like, man, we've been here before, haven't we?
Archie Clark has been here a few times before. This is a tough time for everyone to handle the basketball.
26 seconds to go, 24 seconds to go. Curtis Rowe. 24 seconds left in the game, and Golden State leads by 2. Lanier takes it inside. Foul on the play. The follow-up shot by Curtis Rowe was disallowed. There was a foul on Lanier. Against Lanier, he'll go to the free throw line before Curtis Rowe's follow-up shot. Derek Dickey gets the personal foul. That's a good foul. You got to take that foul.
Was a good foul. Lanier really had a great chance to make a three-point play in here. Ball just rolls off the other side of the rim, and of course Curtis Rowe tapped it in, but Lanier has 3 chances to make 2.
Whoa, it's a nervous free throw, but he gets it.
Don, a lot of players, you can hear their fans shake in this situation, but I don't think you'll see that happen to Bob Lanier.
Yes, the big guy dips it down. He gets them both, so we are tied up again. 110 to 110, 18 seconds to go. And now Al Attles and the Warriors get the ball and call a timeout. They got a lot of time to set up a shot.
Actually, they've got a lot of time for the Pistons to get a shot also.
The last 10 seconds. A victory by the Boston Celtics in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference semifinal against the Buffalo Braves. But the Braves are not yet out of it. Game 6 will be played in Buffalo Sunday afternoon, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. And you will see if the Buffalo Braves can even this series up one more time. That's the final score from the Boston Garden, 99-88. Tommy Heinsohn congratulating Dave Cowens on a tremendous performance. The Redhead and the Celtics go into the locker room, and if they can win Sunday, of course, they would open here at home next week against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And so, from the Boston Garden, Brent Musburger and Mindy Rudolph and Sonny Hill saying so long, and let's go to Don Criqui.
Back at Detroit, the Golden State Warriors with the ball when we resume play, break their timeout with head coach Al Attles. 18 seconds shows in the game clock. They were down by 8 at the end of the third quarter, had not led in this game since early in the game until the fourth quarter, and now they have it tied up 110-110. There's the final in from Boston Garden. The Celtics prevailing over the Buffalo Braves to go up 3 games to 2. 110-110, 18 seconds to go. Golden State with a win here ends this series and goes on to the Western Finals against Phoenix. But Golden State will get the last shot at it. Who do they go to, Jerry?
They may not get the last shot. 18 seconds is a long time, but I'm sure Golden State will try to play this for one shot.
Bill Smith has the ball and 35 points in his hip pocket. 110-110, 7 seconds. They're looking to draw a foul. Inside to Derek Dickey, blocked by Lanier. We go into overtime. Overtime. We go into overtime. You ought to see him here in Detroit. New Year's Eve. BJJ. They got it all going. Up and down.
Big Bob Lanier, key player throughout this ball game, makes one great defensive play, comes back with another great defensive play. This guy's had some ball game.
Yeah, that was 2 brilliant blocks, and you got to credit Golden State with a great play. They had the open man set right up. Dickey had the ball. It was only his heroics of Bob Lanier that saved the day for Detroit.
That's one of those plays, Don, that when you take the ball back to the defensive man again, you're probably going to end up in a worse shot. Derek Dickey had a pretty good short jump shot, but he wanted to try to make the stuff, and Lanier was there to block it.
Jerry West, I know you have I think would be interesting to the viewers, a philosophy on overtime games. You don't feel that teams are drained at the end of regulation. You feel they're so worked up, they're ready to keep going.
Don, I don't feel at all they're drained. All these guys are ready to play.